The Finding Purpose podcast is proudly brought to you by Relive the Moments, founded by visionary entrepreneur John Lim. We live in a world where it's easy to capture memories, but Relive the Moments makes it effortless to re-experience and share them. From NFC-enabled tap coasters and photo frames to interactive video cards, Relive the Moments turns everyday objects into unforgettable tap-to-experience keepsakes. Imagine gifting a wedding guest a coaster that instantly opens your highlight reel, or giving your event sponsors a custom frame that tells your story with just one tap. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, planning a wedding, honoring a legacy, or elevating a brand experience, Relive the Moments is the bridge between the past and present, between memory and connection. It's not just a product, it's an experience. Visit www.relivethemoments.com and use promo code PURPOSE for 25% off your first order. Let's bring your memories to life, one tap at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vora, and I'm so grateful to have you here. This podcast is all about exploring the journeys of incredible individuals, people who have faced adversity, found their purpose, and are now making an impact in their communities. But it's also about my journey. Over the years, I've faced my own obstacles, moments of doubt, and struggles with identity. Through it all, I found my purpose in giving back, creating a space where people can detach from the negative emotions and stigmas they may associate with their own stories, just like I did with mine. Here, we have real conversations about growth, resilience, and transformation. Whether you're searching for direction, striving for personal development, or simply looking for a place to feel seen and understood, this is for you. So if these conversations resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media. Now let's dive into today's episode.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm Adam, and I'm grateful you're here. Whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or watching on the official YouTube channel of the Finding Purpose podcast, thank you for the support. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a review, and share. It helps us continue telling stories like this one. Last week's conversation with my guy, Claudio Valenzuela of Kai Visions, reminded us of the power of storytelling, service, and building something meaningful from passion and purpose. Today's guest brings that same spirit of reinvention through discipline, resilience, and unshakable work ethic. Akenmisire-Ukwei Musa, better known as Moose, and that's probably the only time I'm going to pronounce your full name, is one of the most recognized real estate agents in Connecticut, ranked number one in the state on social media and top 15% nationwide. You may also recognize him from House Hunters and Beachfront Bargains. He's currently with the agency in New Canaan, Connecticut, where he helps clients make confident, high-impact moves in competitive markets. But Musa's story didn't start here. Born Nigerian, one of 6 siblings, and a UConn graduate, he's marked a path marked by real adversity and hard-earned lessons. He's open about a past that could have defined him, but instead became fuel for growth, transformation, and purpose. Today, known as #YourFriendlyNeighborhoodMoose, love that.
Yes.
He's a trusted advisor, a powerful communicator, and living proof that your past does not dictate your future. Let's get into it, man. You know, I'm super grateful that you're here.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you for having me. That was quite the intro, my friend.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, like, at the end of the day, like, I think it's important that we, you know, that I obviously, like, tell everything about my guests. And at the end of the day, like, you've done a lot. I admire the way you move, and you know, it's super awesome to have you here. You know, you're hard guy to nail down.
Yeah, that's what they say.
But you know, but at the end of the day, like, you know, it means a lot to me that you took the time to come over here and record here at Kai Visions with me and Claudio.
Absolutely. There was a point today where I was like, you said that, I was like, oh, thank God you reminded me, because as one of the things I'm doing, as a purposeful thing I'm doing, is I got to follow the calendar, and I accidentally didn't put you in my calendar. So there was this space between 1:45 and 3:45, and I was like, wow. And then I was like, oh, thank God. Like,
Yeah.
that was about to not happen.
It's funny too, because my 1 o'clock canceled. So I was like, I just want to like make sure that we're all on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
And, obviously it worked out. It's funny, man, because when I met you, we met at the event that I hosted with Lamborghini.
Yeah, very dope event, man. That was one of the best events I've been to last year, if not top 2 event that I went to.
Yeah.
And I'm using that, truthfully, I'm not stealing this, but I'm using that to model a lot of what we have going into this year. So that honor to nod to that, because that was a very well done event.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And there was a lot of work that came into that event. But, one of the things that was really the most beneficial to me were the relationships that came out of that, you being one of them. And, we've had an opportunity to sit down a couple of times throughout the past, 6-7 months, and, really just figure out like how we could work together in the future. But, I really wanted to invite you here because, I also wanted to learn more about, your story, and what led you to be the real estate powerhouse, frankly, that you are now, with your work with the agency. So
Absolutely.
maybe, share with my audience a little bit about like your early days, and we can kind of go from there. There was a lot I learned actually before we even recorded that, I'd like to dive into, and I'll let you kind of start there.
Yeah. So, what's funny? A lot of the stories that I end up telling first is an early story. And I tell the story because, again, I'm not vanilla, right? I curse and I say things, and you'll realize some of this you might have to blurp out. But one of the things that I started off with was selling leaves. As a 5-year-old, you can literally ask my mom this. I tell the story a lot, but I say it. The purpose of the story is hustle's innate. You wake up every day. We have the same 24 hours. You hear that everywhere all the time, right? So I can remember as young as 5 years old, I remember being like, I just want to like do stuff. And like not the regular stuff, not like run outside, which was something you should go do, touch grass, everybody, right? But I remember being like, I want to build something. I want to do something. And lemonade stands always interested me. And this is 5 years old. So lemonade stand was always interested me. But, grew up, didn't have tons of money. The ghettos of West Haven, if you will. Ghetto's a bad word, by the way. The hoods of West Haven. So I didn't realize that in the fall, leaves change color. So what I did is I went and I gathered a bunch of leaves in the fall, and I bundled them up, and then I saved them. And then later, like months later, I set up a lemonade stand, but instead of lemonade, I sold leaves. And I was selling leaf bundles for a nickel.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I sold 5 bundles, so I got 25 cents. And I went to Durante's Italian Italian market right up the street, and I got myself a honey bun. And that was my first sale. Okay, and that's not even the actual real story. I asked my mom that shit.
Yeah.
Because like she was like, what the where'd you get that honey bun?
Yeah.
Like, did you steal it? Because I was also doing that a lot. So at the end of the day, I record that as my first sale. And I say this because the hustle's innate. Like it's a lot of people wake up, they like again, I want to be real estate, I want to be a seller, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to get after the bag, I want to do this. I was like, yeah, everybody wants to be rich,
yeah,
but no one wants to put the work in. Everybody wants to be famous, but no one puts the work in. Everyone wants to be jacked, but no one puts the work in. You got to go to the gym. You got to wake up every day. You got to study your markets. You got to do these things. And so again, all of us love to take shortcuts. I think that's also the name of the game. And moving into what I texted you about earlier, the shortcut to getting rich a lot of the times is what you see it as. And I was like, well, if you sell something, because I was good at that, or you buy something and you sell something for more, you can do that. So I'm talking about drug dealing. In high school.
That's great. I was like, should we talk about it? So I want to talk about you said growing up in West Haven, growing up in the hood there, obviously there are a lot of valuable lessons that you learned from that experience.
Of course.
So what was, that like? Maybe paint a picture a little bit there. And obviously your first hustle selling leaves, and obviously the hustle grows.
Yeah. And
you find different avenues, and we, obviously drug dealing being one of them. And I'm no stranger to that world either. I was, would have been a great customer. But talk about a little bit about that ecosystem and how it's affected you, in that sense?
So this is not to promote the idea of like drug dealing's a good thing, but the biggest but is the lessons. Because I'm being so honest. If you look at the career of that, it was, I sold leaves when I was 5. And then like I got to high school, middle school and started doing other stuff, not even like other stuff, hard stuff. And then I got to college and it was weed, right? And shrooms and all these other things. And I was able to build a very lucrative business off of credit because I had good friends who were supplying and they would just give it off of credit. So one of the easiest lessons I learned is don't spend your own money, right? That's one lesson. Fun fact, you could, have someone else fund a project, someone else sponsor something, someone else do something. Initially, the money piece is taken care of. Another lesson I learned, I didn't have to do anything. I just had to be smart. And I consider myself smart. So I say didn't have to do anything is because, like you just said, I would have been a good customer. So I just had to be in the room where you were. So as long as I was in the right position at the right time, my sales were going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
I ended up joining a fraternity my freshman year in college.
Perfect positioning.
And and at that point in time, my buddy, who was like I'm talking about like real good friend, was just like, wait, this is no brainer. I could just give it to you and you just give it to them and then you just give me money. Back money.
Yeah.
And then no brainer to me, broke college kid. I was like, yeah, of course. But the lesson learned there is that it's going to sell itself. You just have to market.
Yeah.
Right. And like if you just market yourself or you're in the right place at the right time, then at the end of the day, the thing sells itself. Translate to houses. House is going to buy itself. I'm sorry, the house is going to sell itself. Right. Like someone wants that house, they're going to go buy that house. Someone wants that shoe, they're going to go buy that shoe. If you own the shoe, they buy from you. If you own the house, they buy from you. All right, you want to sell that house? You just have to market yourself, put yourself in the right position. Same thing with the marketing flyers we send out. Same thing with social media marketing, all that good stuff. So that track that happened was, again, I sold leaves, I sold grass, now I sell houses.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like, sales in itself. And I think, at the end of the day, like a lot of the people who are listening to my podcast either are entrepreneurs, they are in the business space, or they're finding a purposeful mission to pursue where they could potentially monetize. So that sheds a lot of light on just kind of like the approach, because I do think that, I had Roman Vladimirsky here, and he's over at, I think, Keller Williams in New Rochelle.
Okay.
And, that's what he was saying. He was like, dude, like, I think, like you could say that I sell houses, but really what I am is a master marketer. Like it's not so much sales as it is marketing. And that's how I approach the business. But I'm not only marketing the actual house, I'm marketing myself as someone trustworthy, someone with integrity, someone who cares about, my clients' needs. And, once I sell myself that way, then, the business, begins to generate. Where do you think, when it comes to, that approach, like, I guess from a marketing perspective, how does that help to kind of elevate your business? But
So in terms of the marketing perspective, in terms of, if you will, again, the house is going to sell itself, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take a photo of said house. You know how many, and this is funny because I just did this right now, but you know how many listings you see out there where the photo is an iPhone photo? You know how many like non-wide angle professional photos exist of houses? I was looking at this. This is literally 1.999, $2 million house, let's call it. And every single photo had a smudge from like a person's thumb in the right corner. I'm like, how dare you, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's easy, simple tactics like that. So in itself, me knowing that if I just say, hey, seller who has an agent who took these smudgy pictures, do you realize that the house is probably not selling due to the fact that they're not marketing it well? Boom, enter all my marketing. Boom, enter the hat I'm wearing right now. It's like, it's just the idea of putting yourself in that spot. But then, is it good marketing?
Yeah.
Right? Because not all marketing is good, obviously. So in my opinion, one of the things that you kind of have to capture, one of the things you have to realize is you have to capture an audience, but you have to realize who your audience is.
Yeah.
And so in the changing field and the changing markets and the changing idea of like just again West Haven to a Fairfield to a New Canaan, those are all different price points, right? So can you market the same way to every single one of those sellers? Can you market the same way to every single one of those buyers? In truth, sadly to say, yes, you can. But how does it make it seem? How do I get a $3 million listing in Greenwich versus like a $500,000 listing? How do I lose a $500,000 listing in West Haven and still maintain like a $2 million listing in like Fairfield, right? Like,
Yeah.
how does that work? And I think that, again, it plays into the idea of putting yourself in the right place and making sure that your marketing is tight and making sure that, you know, that person that you are, because like you said it at the beginning of your statement, it's really me. It's like really you.
Yeah.
They look at you and they say, what can you do? And then if you smile at the right time, if you smirk at the wrong time, if you don't maintain eye contact, they're going to be like, we're just going to go with the other person.
Yeah.
And we're not doing much different stuff. That's the other secret of it, right? Like, I'm at a very high-end luxury real estate agency, but our motto is luxury is not a price point, it's an experience. And so the experience of me bringing luxury into the fold, the experience of me having a balloon structure at the broker's open, then you walk in and there's a nice charcuterie board with fucking fingerling potatoes on it, right? Like that experience that I'm giving you is probably why the neighbor walked in and was like, wow, I want you to sell my house as well.
Yeah.
Right? Marketing. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm all about the experience. And, you know, one of the things I know about you is that you're one of 5 children, and being part.
That's a fun story too, by the way.
Well, let's jump into that, because I think, you know, at the end of the day, like when you come from bigger families, it makes you easier to understand other personalities, and really helps you, you know, in the long-term trajectory of your life because, you know, you're dealing with internal chaos in the family unit, not internal chaos, but a lot of things moving.
A lot of internal chaos.
So I'd love to talk about how that family experience, you know, shaped you also.
Yeah, for sure. So my parents were born in Nigeria. They came over here in the 60s, I believe. Fun fact, my dad actually came as a political refugee. My mom came over because of school. And similarly, my dad also went to school here as well. And they studied. So in Nigerian culture, you cannot get a B. B is for beat. You get a B, I'm going to beat your ass, right? Like, it's like a real thing.
Same thing with Indian culture, I'll tell you.
I mean, it's real, bro. So, you know, if you go to Nigeria, educators are held in higher regard than the president. Same thing, educators, priests, and then the president of the country, right? Like, they're held in such a high regard, so education is very important. So I grew up with a wooden stick and a golden belt and a chancla. Like, I mean, I was just, you know, that guy. So I would say that what I notice, if most people, when I start to tell stories of Nigerian past, are like, so you were child abused. so your parents should have had DCF inside your house. Like, but I would not change. I mean, I changed a little bit, but I wouldn't change a lot of this for the world, because the tough lessons that you learn getting raised by immigrants, and I think that's the other thing. It's not just Nigerian, maybe not just Indian, but it's immigrants. You had an immigrant parent. You had an immigrant living in America, raising them as an immigrant, trying to be American. Like, it doesn't play well. So I have an older brother who literally we all don't talk to. We don't even know where he is at this point. I have 3 younger sisters, right? My 3 younger sisters, all very successful. And then you have me, who's like, you know, I guess a little successful. But like, as it trickled down, I hate to say it like this, and I'm sure my brother will never see this podcast, but, you know, he went through a lot, you know, because you had these, unfortunately, experimental thought process that comes when you have a kid in a country that you're trying to raise in that country as an immigrant. So, like, you're trying to literally raise a Nigerian American. Yeah. And, like, how does that mesh? How does that fold? I don't know my own language. And that's because, A, my parents spoke different languages. there's over like 600 dialects in the country, but my dad spoke Hausa, my mom spoke Igbo. And like they decided not to teach us this language because they're like, they just cried too much. Like it was too hard. It was way too hard. They cried too much. And they have to learn English because they're here in America. Right. So back to school.
Yeah.
School was not just tough. It was tough because we were maniacs. Like you had these 5 kids who were literally jumping off of the walls because we got to breathe outside of the house.
Yeah.
But then if we were jumping off the walls, like again, you get home and you get your ass beat again. So we got trained very much, like I said, with a wooden spoon, a golden belt, and a chancla. And I just feel like,
What's a chancla?
it's a sandal.
Oh, okay. My dad just used his belt.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. An actual golden belt. I'm talking like it was a golden belt. Like it was not like fucking leather. It was like fucking gold, fucking metal.
Yo, that's fucking wild, dude. Yo, it's funny because there's a couple things. Like people ask me all the time, why don't I speak Farsi and why don't I speak Hindi? And it's exactly the same thing. My dad spoke Hindi, my mom spoke Farsi, and they couldn't communicate to each other. Yeah. So it was never spoken in the house. Mm-hmm. English was the language that was spoken in the house. So I really only speak English, and I understand Hebrew from my mom's Persian Jewish. Mm-hmm. But there was a point when I went to Jewish day school and I was actually practicing where I could speak semi-fluent Hebrew, but I haven't in such a long time. So really English is the only thing in broken restaurant Spanish.
Right.
You know?
There you go. Yeah.
So like for me, like that's the one thing that I've always kind of regretted, where I didn't like push my parents to teach me either one of the languages.
Same.
But the times that I did, my dad's not the best teacher.
Yeah.
When I frustrated the shit out of him when I was trying to learn it, I think, and it just never materialized. And Farsi is an extremely complicated language. I know when they're talking about me, and I'll be like, hey, I heard Adam June, but I don't really understand it. So like I regret that. But like, for me, like I've also had I grew up with immigrant parents that were stricter. Claudio, same thing with him. You can listen to last week's episode and hear that entire story. I'm going to plug that, Claudio. But
can't wait.
At the same time as I'm growing up in this household, I'm also watching how Americans are being raised, and as you were as well. Take me back to that. Like, I mean, obviously, like you're looking at your household, then you're making friends who aren't immigrants, and what was that like, and what did you observe?
So that's a great thing, and this is something I haven't thought about in a while. But I remember thinking about this in college, for instance. I remember being like, damn, I'm just like not like anybody else, I feel like. So when I was able to talk more about this, it's so wild to hear the exact same experience happens, because as an immigrant, first generation, if you will, it was the wildest thing. But I always said this, I got raised by television, and I don't know if you ever felt that way, but like it was like Family Matters. It was like, Saved by the Bell. Yeah. It was like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, dude. Like, and also we didn't have cable. I didn't have cable until 6th or 7th grade. It was 6th grade. I didn't have cable. So we also made these friends, and we would go over their houses and like SpongeBob SquarePants, fucking Nickelodeon, all this other cat dog, dude. Yeah. Like it was like I was so enthralled with cartoons. I'm still enthralled with cartoons. I love anime, for instance, right? And I think that also has a big thing to play with it because like I wasn't watching TV, growing, and that's another reason we're probably just bouncing off the fucking walls too, right? Like we didn't have this like outlet to just sit and like do this thing. But what's very interesting about that, we made these friends, and then they would come over to the house, and the house would smell like shit because my mom was making crawfish, and literally you have to clear out so then sometimes, we're getting into these fights at school. Oh, Ken's house is, don't go over there. You don't want to sleep over at his house, and his mom's being, and then my mom was also heavily regarded as a bitch, and that's just she owns it, dude. So, but like to teachers, to like other parents, like to the bad kids who were again, and think about the idea of bad. We grow up, and we're always like, the popular kids are like the bad kids, like and I lived on the street, or I lived across the street, or I lived in the neighborhood with all the bad kids. And then very naturally, my brother, who's way better looking than me, modeled fucking D1 for all this stuff. And but we looked so similar for so long that I grew up in the idea of the shallows. They were like, yo, you're Simon's brother. Your mom's a bitch. And that was my intro. Like, so I was never like the new kid, right? And you know, the idea and the feeling of like, well, you're a new kid walking into school, so you could kind of create, no, you're Simon's brother. And your mom's a bitch. It was like, so and at the same time, it also played very much into, I think, my complex, because I always felt that I had to make people laugh, right? And I always felt like I had to either like I had to bring like some type of joy or to that situation or some type of value to that, because it was always like, well, you're just like, where's Simon at? Like I want to talk to Simon. Like I want to run with Simon. I want to play football with Simon. I want da da da. Like anybody, your mom's bitch.
Yeah, that's wild. No, I can get that, where it's like, you know, people are identifying you more by things or other people who they know are either like related to you, or you're not defined by who you are.
Right.
You're defined by what people think you are.
Exactly. And it's proximity too, right? So it's like, in the easiest and fairest way, my parents came to West Haven, Connecticut, because there is a dense Nigerian population, right? So now we have friends who are also Nigerians, but then again, it's West Haven, Connecticut. It's on the water. For a time, it was called Waste Haven. At one point, I think in 2006, it was the friendliest city in America, and then someone spray painted over the sign. So, like, I'm saying this because, and just to hinting at the clues here, West Haven, I believe, is still in the Guinness World Book of Records for the longest strip of bars per square feet. So, and it's called the Campbell Crawl. And, like, so it's filled with drunk alcoholics, right? Who like love beaches and like the water and like.
I think I know exactly what that is. Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this. So it was like, all right, and then in the midst, you have like these Nigerians, and in the midst, but West Haven to me was an amazing melting pot, and I wouldn't change West Haven for the world. Dude, there's this kid. He's 6'6", plays at the high school that I went to, and he's the number one prospect for college in basketball. West Haven has raw talent just pumping out all the time, winning football championships. You have Notre Dame, for instance, like I said, right next door to Yale, but for some strange reason, West Haven was Waste Haven.
Yeah.
So
y'all were so friendly.
Yeah, so friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the times, like, where you come from, like, really shapes like how you approach, you know, everything afterwards. You know, like, obviously, like, you know, what did you even go to college for?
That's fun. So I got into every single one of the colleges that I applied to except for UConn.
Yeah.
And then my brother went to UConn. I wish someone had told me that, listen, doesn't matter how much money you spend on college tuition, you're going to be in debt. That's just how that works. Mm-hmm. So I went to UConn out of necessity because I actually got in off the waiting list. And it was like $8,000 a year, but I got into Fordham. I got the 5-year business program from Northeastern. I mean, I was like really pushing the avenue on like doing things in high school. I did over 1,000 hours of community service. Back to the idea of religion that you had mentioned with I think you had mentioned church, or you go in. Did you say something about church before?
No, I said that my mom's Jewish side.
The Jewish side.
Yeah.
So we were raised Roman Catholic, and again, because of that proximity thing. My parents, my dad was Protestant, my mom Catholic, Christian. West Haven, you know, America, the East, very obviously large Catholic Christian influence. And so when they landed here, a large thing that we were very much involved in was the church. So that's the other side of things too. I was very much involved in the church as all this was happening. And the church played a very, very big part in high school to kind of draw me away from like the other hood stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
And introduced me to a whole new crowd of people, my white friends, as I say. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, like, your church does it. Church does it. It connects you with different people. Mm-hmm. Did you practice? Were you faithful? Like, were you?
Yeah. We would do Sunday church. I got confirmation. Like, I could take the body of Christ, right?
Yeah.
Like, but once I got to college, that's definitely when it stopped. Like, pretty much cold turkey stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does faith play a role in your life now?
It sadly does, not as much as I would like it to.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year. This is the year of coming back to faith. But it's unfortunately not as big as I would like it to be. I believe in higher power. I believe in that, but I think that just like a lot of people these days, we're clouded by the hustle. We're clouded by what we feel as are our gods, if you will. And right now, I think the god of money is what runs basically everyone's lives these days. You know, there's the god of time, right? So people believe in making sure that you have to, you know, win your time back and do that whole thing. Right now, I'm in hustle mode.
Yeah.
And the very unfortunate thing is the last time I went to church was when my dad died last year. So
sorry to hear that. Yeah. You know, obviously, like, you know, you talked about being in hustle mode, and I want to talk about that because I think that's where, you know, a lot of people can get a lot of insight into just like your approach to business, your approach to, you know, building the name that you have for yourself, but also, you know, the agency in itself. What are some early lessons in business that you either that you learned the hard way?
Early lessons in business. So I think, again, one of the first lessons was that, it sounds awful to say, but not all buyers, this is awful to say, so I'm going to say it because everyone does say it in real estate, but a lot of times people say buyers are liars, right? So sometimes you hear that because, yeah, I want to buy this house cash. And they don't have cash. Hey, I want to buy this house cash, or hey, I have X amount of dollars. Hey, I have an 850 credit score. It's like we're going to find out. You have to get a loan. You have to go through the loan process. Hey, I really, really like that house. Let's put an offer in on that house. 3 days later, offers accepted. I hate that house. Like it's you know,
Yeah.
And not to say it for all buyers. And again, I love all my clients. I love all my future clients. Don't want to lose any business here. But a lot of times you hear that buyers are liars. So my first deal, and Alan Stewart Jr. actually referred. This is my first buyer's deal, I should say, but he referred it over to me. It was one of his clients, right? I get this deal. This lady, whatever, she sucks. I don't even care. Because she sounds like this. So she sounds like, literally sounds like this. Wakes up every single day, smokes 57 cigarettes. Like that's who I was interacting. That's who I was talking to, right? So, and she really did. So, and I promise you, this sounds nuts. Well, I'm positive that her husband was in the KKK. But like positive. But this was my first thing, and Alan knew none of this. So he sent this client over to me. They want to buy this property in Derby. I take them out for an entire week. This is 2016, and I show them. We end up locking this property down. They love this house so much. We get the inspection. Nothing's wrong with the house. Perfect house. It's a VA loan because the husband's a vet, and yeah, that's what we all thought, that the husband was a vet, not a veteran.
Really?
Not a vet. Which again was found out like halfway through, or he like lost his eligibility or whatever it was for some
dishonorably discharged or something.
It was something like that, right? So suddenly halfway through the deal, he couldn't be approved for vet. And wasn't the issue. We then switch over to FHA. They're very much qualified. So they're actually even more qualified
for the
FHA, right? We're moving through the motions. We get maybe a week before the closing, and she was like, I woke up today, and I just don't have a good feeling, Moose. I don't have a feel like I had when I walked in the house the first time. I was like, when did you walk in the house? What? Let's cancel the deal. I was like, so I called the agent, I called Alan, and it's like way past the time for them to be able to get their deposit back. And I fight, and they get their deposit back. And I was like, okay. So on to the next one. No, I don't want to work with you anymore. I was like, what? I just saved you like $1,500, which I thought was a lot of money. I was like, all right. So they go back to Alan. I touched base with Alan a year later, just because, I mean, we've been working together with so much motion going on. I was like, hey, you remember those guys? He was like, oh, dude, here's the crazy story. We find another place. We get to the day of closing.
And they pull out.
She calls Alan. She goes, I woke up this morning. I had a bad dream. and the moon's not full. We're not closing today. Honest truth, fucking-batum.
Probably lives in the same house right now.
I was gonna say something awful, but I was like, that's the whole thing. Is she was like, wait, what? So you just don't want to buy a place. So why did you make us go through all of this stuff? And so that was the first time I was like, wow, that was the first deal. And a lot of times people say, like, get all your crazy shit out the way and it's done. I've had such crazy deals. I had the craziest deals happening. Even right now, I have like 8 listings all under contract, and 4 of them are just batshit crazy deals.
Yeah.
And so I think that one of the biggest things is success is actually what you make of it. If you really believe in the glory that is real estate, then you have to realize that there's a story behind it. And a lot of people, Courtney McManus has told me this, but a lot of people hear this or see the glory but have no idea what the story. You see the glory, don't know the story. Because there's so much story. You see the selfies I take with people and all the happy day, made a move, it's closing time. Bro, there are so many times where I'm like, I'm so happy you bought the house. But I have like 16 more gray hairs on top of my head, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's like was it worth it for both of us?
Yeah.
God, was this $10,000 worth it? It's like, yeah, it actually was. But I think that's one of the life lessons is that oftentimes you have to do your due diligence because people lie. Period. Success is exactly what you make of it, because if you aren't happy at the end of the day doing this thing, you have to be passionate about it. You have to like and love what you're doing. But like at the end of the day, dude, real estate is not for everybody. But everybody wants to do real estate.
Yeah.
That's that. Real estate is not for everybody. I swear everybody wants to do real estate in some part, in some way. Everybody wants to do. You have to live somewhere. You got to rent this place. You eventually have to buy a spot. Maybe you're leasing an area. Maybe you're doing something. And everybody does. So,
Quick break to shout out our sponsor, Relive the Moments. Founded by John Lim, they're redefining how we share memories. From tap-to-play photo frames to interactive coasters, they turn ordinary objects into powerful, shareable experiences. Perfect for weddings, events, or milestone moments. Relive, reconnect, reimagine. Check them out at www.relivethemoments.com. Now back to the show. No, I love that, man.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I want to talk about, because what you do is very relationship driven.
Mm-hmm.
And, what are some important tools or techniques that you use when it comes to managing relationships?
It's a great question. One of the things, I don't have all the answers, by the way, Sway, but
No, that's all good.
But one of the things that I like to do is I do like to remind people that I'm their agent with gifts.
Yeah.
So, during the Thanksgiving time, we end up giving people, Thanksgiving pies or donuts, what have you. I like to send those text messages out. I have a newsletter that connects. When you're looking at it from a trust standpoint, that's one of the things. I build a relationship with you, and the problem is I can't help but be transparent. I can't help but talk the way I'm talking now. I can't help but mumble and jumble. But like, I think that what a lot of people see and seek is it's honesty and the transparency. So wait, what was the question?
Like when it comes to like relationships, like what are like some key things that you find are essential in order for you to really like be able to grow a relationship? Like I'll speak for myself. Like obviously, like, trust has a huge role when it comes to really understanding how a relationship works. But it's also, empathy and like being able to be in the position of the person that you're speaking to. And if it's in a buy-sell kind of situation, then it's like, hey, like what are their real needs and where are their emotional touch points? Right. I think that's really important. But when it comes to, interpersonal relationships, also it's just really being able to understand that other person, you know, and how you can reach them and how you can also make them feel heard. I think that's really important, both from a standard relationship standpoint, but also a professional relationship standpoint. Right. So, I struggled with that early on in my sales career, where I just thought that I needed to know a lot about the product. And the more I knew about the product, I could talk about all its features. I could talk about its usefulness. I could talk about where it could be incorporated in, a client's practical life. But if I didn't
Absolutely.
understand what they actually needed,
Mhm.
then I was fucked when it came to actually trying to sell them.
Absolutely.
And so now when it comes to a business, generating new business and being able to incorporate new partnerships, I really prioritize understanding where that other person is currently, what season they're in, what their needs are, what they're prioritizing, and what they're struggling with.
Absolutely.
So, in real estate, where you built your business, what components of managing relationships, not only with your clients, but also with your team,
Yeah.
have you really prioritized that has allowed you to continue to elevate?
That's a great question. And so I'm glad that you just gave that because innate, I think I said this before, how the hustle's innate. So it's very much ingrained in me to make sure that I respect what you have going on. Like from general conversation, not just that, but like the idea of trust. So when I say like I mumble, I jumble, I go on, that like releases this like idea is like, Moose you could talk to Moose about anything.
Yeah.
You could literally say anything to Moose and he would either not judge you or he'll judge you heavily and tell you that he's judging you heavily because he just can't not say that. So to me, the idea of from the bottom up, the familial sector, right? It's staying close to your roots and making sure that you understand where you came from. That translates very well to the idea of we're just speaking on immigrants. Like, I mean, we have such a balanced palette when it comes to talking to all types of people. I went to private school. I went to an all-boys private school for high school, right? I was in Catholic school growing up.
Which one, Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yep, West Haven. And then I went to UConn, right? And then I joined a fraternity, right? Like it was, I was in, and none of this is because I would say none of this is because I wanted to, just because I was like, oh, I feel like that feels right. And then, or this popped up and I'm going to do that with these people. So it's making sure, and all those people I sell houses to, right?
Yeah.
So this has been my theory for the longest time. And maybe this is not just how relationships work, but it's kind of my general idea and rule of thumb. You want to become a natural disaster, and that's going to sound ridiculous until you see it like this. So, we're in this funnel. We're in this funnel, and when you're in this successful way, or you even start your business, you're in this tunnel, and there's a lot of these opportunities in this tunnel. And so, like, you could go through the tunnel, and you can see that there's opportunities, but you want to make sure to grab the right ones. You don't want to hop off on the side and get smushed on the side. You want to stay in the tunnel, in my opinion, until you can see the light. You get to the light, you're able to now see and understand and give value to others because you're in this tunnel. You were able to learn in this tunnel. You were able to hear what people had to say in this tunnel. But you're still in the tunnel because you're going. The idea then is that, and the tunnel is this way, right? It's this. Once you get to the light, and once you get out, and you have this understanding of it, it's your job now to also guide people through the tunnel as well, and not just guide people through the tunnel, but show that you can pick up anywhere and do that system anywhere. So, like, again, the tunnel, let's call it the friendship. It's like, well, I wouldn't want to be around someone who, like, for instance, didn't understand my other values as well. And if I talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes, I could understand that. And, like, that's the same thing, too, is, well, I don't necessarily want a client like that either. I'm in the phase of life where I'm like, if you could have a $10 million listing. I should take that $10 million listing. But, like, if you're, I don't know, racist, maybe I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, not all money is good money, right? And so, like, again, that 5 to 10 minute conversation is going to be able to help me gear in on who and what you are, and again, continuing to understand that. But you drive through this tunnel, you make sure you get through the tunnel, you get to the light, you start to help other people, and then you pick it up. Natural disaster, you become a fucking tornado because, again, a tunnel this way, going this way and you could pick that up. And you could go and seek that opportunity, grab that. Go seek that opportunity, grab that. Go seek that opportunity, grab that. Go seek that opportunity, grab that. Help that person grab that. Help that person grab that. You want to be a natural disaster.
Yeah.
And disrupt. And so that's been kind of where I'm at with it, where I hope that I have built and people understand where I'm at with it. and when they hear me speak or they are able to attain value. And that's the same that happens with the team. It's like I've sold lots of real estate. I've done lots of weird shit. I've done a ton of stuff. And I come from a teaching background.
Yeah.
You know, so you had mentioned major. The reason I was going off on that tangent is because I was supposed to be a business major, and that was it. I wanted to do international business, and I wanted to. I was like learning Chinese for the longest. I was wild. But I ended up double majoring in psych and communications, and then my minor was in business.
Yeah.
So then it was like, what does that even give you? Like,
Yeah.
like, what
Well,
can you
nowadays,
do?
nowadays, a lot of the successful people that I know, like, are very self-taught.
Yeah.
They've learned through obviously the evolution of technology and AI and all these things. Like information is very accessible.
Easy.
But I like what you shared about the tunnel and being a disruptor, because I think that's really important. I've begun to realize that now for myself, where I need to start making more noise, and I also need to start making more noise that attracts the right people and to my sphere where I can provide them value. Now, obviously, you've grown tremendously in your career, and you're in a leadership position, and I'd love to talk about how being in that position, what are some key components that you feel make you a good leader?
Transparency is one of them. Like, I keep driving back to that. It's like letting people know what's up. Unfortunately, I take things so personally, right? But like, that's one thing I'm working on. You can't take things personally. Business is actual business.
You don't strike me that way at all.
I know. I keep it inside. But the wild thing is again, and it's I'd say it's knowing what you're good at and allowing people to do what they're good at, and imbuing people with the idea of like, you should keep doing what you're good at, you know? And that's the thing and that's why I also feel like our team has shrunk. I feel like there's
Your team is drunk?
shrunk.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Not yet.
That's an icebreaker.
Everybody, we drinking.
Yeah.
But no, so our team has shrunk for sure. But I love our team now. I love every component of our team because all the extra fillings are gone, right? And we're at the point in time where we have the ability to create something that I don't think anyone has ever seen before. And that's what I love that. Like, the reason I was at Yellow Brick, the reason I was at Yellow Brick to start, and I love everybody over there. That was where I started. And it was just beautiful because it was the best start I could have had. I had great mentors. I had amazing resources over there as well. And so that's the thing, is believing in the people that you are working with and believing in your team and providing that type of value is going to make you the best leader. But transparency is the truth, because a lot of people, I think, see business or a CEO as untouchable, as I can't like talk to that person. Mauricio, I mean, I could call Mauricio right now and he'll pick up the phone, right? It's like he's $1 billion man, right? I could call Mike Smith, 100, 200, 300, whoever, $1 billion man. I could call that dude and he will pick up the phone. Like, it's like, so also the ability to be available, even if it's for a short period of time, that helps too. Everybody, even the people that have left my team, anybody that used to call me, I would pick up the phone. Right. Yeah. And that was, I think, one of my biggest traits is like, you could reach me. You could. It's going to be tough sometimes. And sometimes have to keep poking the bear or the moose. But like, I'll get to you. I'll get right back to you. So
yeah. No, I mean, I think that's really important. I've seen like your team really rally around you. And I've also seen how they view you, obviously, from the time that I came and visited the spot over there on Elm Street. And then, you know, also obviously at that event too, but I see how you lead, and I think it's important, especially in a volatile industry.
Yes.
Where, you know, there are wins, but there are losses and there are setbacks, like you kind of outlined with the raspy voice lady, and that being obviously like your first deal, like
so
how that like did discourage you. You mentioned something, you know, just now you talked about mentorship, and now you're you're a mentor to your team. How did mentorship play a role in your development, and what were some key takeaways you took from the people who mentored you?
So extremely, extremely, extremely important to have a good mentor, because if it's hard to believe in yourself when you don't know what you're doing. Like, it takes a village is what they say, all these things. But then they also say, hey, everyone dies alone. So, like, you got to be strong. It's like, Jesus Christ, what do I do? But like, the idea of it, and to me, is I had such good mentors that believed in me. And like, I believed in myself. I to this day think I'm the shit. I think I'm the best real estate agent in the room always. I think I'm the best speaker. I think I'm the best. But like, I don't wake up and like look in the mirror and be like, you're the best. Like, I just, there's this thought. On the way over here though, I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst. I suck. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Who do I call to tell me I'm not the worst today? That's your mentor. And if you have a belief in the person like that, and that they believe in you, that's beautiful. And that gets you through life. You need that. Call it your friend. Call it your therapist. Call it a fellow agent. But if you talk to me in the middle of the day, you're getting a story and you're talking to me for like way longer than you should be, because I'm like, yeah, here we go with this. I can't believe you called me at the worst time, but guess what's happening to me today, right? So again, transparency. And I think that relational like piece is what really helped. Because again, you could see your CEO as untouchable, but if your CEO's in the room with you, doing the same shit that you're doing, and like going through that struggle, or went through the struggle, or is on a higher scale and providing value, talking about the struggle, like that's a beautiful thing. And you being able to relate to somebody who's on being able to relate to somebody that you respect, is non-quantifiable. It really is on the good side of things, because I'll mention an Alan, I'll mention the TJ, I'll mention even a Rudy. I would call Rudy. I even mentioned a Jeannie Varnum. I didn't know how to write a fucking offer. I didn't know how to write an offer, and like I was calling my client for information while I had like my broker on FaceTime being like, all right, line item 7. Fred Moore was actually one of the main reasons I got into real estate. He called me while I was in a taxi in Miami, like literally contemplating, like, do I go back to Connecticut ever? Like, do I just live as a bum in Miami? Like, I don't have any money, but like, it seems pretty nice here. Like, and this dude, Fred Moore, shout out to Fred Durf. He called me, and that is actually why I got my real estate license. I was always on the fence about stuff, but he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm just calling people to, see if they want to sell their house. I'm like, Fred, if I owned the house, I don't even know what I'd be doing, man. There's no way I could even own a house. Why do you say that? Because what? What do you mean? How do I hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's not what you have to do. I'm literally lying on my back in a taxi in Miami. I had lied to get PT, and then I had extended my like vacation by like 3 days just to go down for like a spring break that I like very much deserved, because I was working 70-hour weeks.
Yeah.
So talk about the school sector, man. It's like I was doing therapy. So I was a therapist, and I was in-home therapy, and I was doing a lot of work with autistic kids and kids with behavioral disorders. So I needed that break, and this guy calls me. I'm like, wow, serendipitous. The day I got back, I went to real estate school, and then 6 weeks later, I had my real estate license.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally nuts. But mentorship, it took that dude calling me and be like, yo, you should believe in yourself a little bit more. Like, give yourself a little bit more credit, man. A lot of people like you. You're a nice light to the world. You were raised right, if you will. Get my ass beat. But that was the whole idea, is that being in the right place at the right time. But I needed someone to tell me that. So like, mentorship is key to success. Everyone thinks that they can do it alone. On the way here, was like, I don't have anybody to call. Like, I was like, fuck everybody, actually. But no, I ended up calling Mike, right?
Nice.
And just being like, I just need to say something. I just need to talk something out loud, because I don't know where my head's at right now. So it's that. It's having a mentor plays the most important part in your success overall. But in any career path, in any shape, any form, I don't care what. And like, again, call it your friend, call it your therapist. Growing up, you had friends, right? You had people to lean on. You still have friends these days. You have spouses. You have your partner. You have these other things that you lean on these people. You lean on those systems, and if they break, then you knew they weren't strong to begin with.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, obviously the podcast is about purpose, and like it seems like your purpose journey has kind of changed throughout your life. And oftentimes when I ask people about purpose, that's what they say. It's a moving target. And, there's one season in my life, this is my purpose. Now I'm in this season of my life where this is my purpose. And, eventually we find something that's going to fulfill us for the rest of our lives. What does the word purpose mean to you?
That's just what you said. It's a moving target, but it also is. That's a complicated word, no? Like it's like what is purpose, and then you start to think like, where am I in life? We're on this small ball circulating. It gets all crazy. Is there a God? But like that's the whole idea of it. I feel like purpose to me really revolves around the idea of helping people, and I feel like innately most people want to help. I don't think you were born mean, so if everyone just helped another person every single day, we'd be in a very, very, very different state in the country, in the world. But for me, purpose really revolves around the idea of meaningful interactions and making sure that those interactions, I want to leave. Which I know I will from here even today. When I leave here, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel lighter, right? Because I was able to talk to you. I was able to engage with you. I was able to maybe share some tips that go farther. Maybe you think in a year or two something I said today, right? It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It doesn't have to be next week. But maybe a year or two from today, you're like, oh yeah, Moose said some shit like that. Actually, I implemented that in this part of my life, and like that worked.
Yeah.
Right. What's immortality look like? So. If every single when did the golden rule start? When who first was like, do unto you as you do unto others? Like when did that start? When who said that first? Right?
Is it biblical?
Nah, definitely not. The Bible, bro, they're fucking. But that's like the idea of it, right? Like who started that? If I could say something today that resonates with you to tell a bunch of your new clients, and then a couple of people take that and their kids hear it, and then their kids hear it, and those kids hear it, that's immortality, right? Like being able to leave that type of legacy. So I feel like purpose really revolves around the idea of helping, because if you help people, your life has meaning.
I love
it.
Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody on that journey of finding purpose?
The advice I would give would be to stay the course, because no matter what, it's going to be tough. So life is tough. Make sure you're happy doing what you're doing, and believe in your passion and believe in yourself. Because as a very passionate person about real estate, as a very passionate person about several things, I wish today, like I have this little time box thing that my mom showed me the other day. I remember being like, I'm going to be a millionaire when I'm 12. But I said that when I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one where I was like, by 11, I'm going to have the most expensive art painting. By 13, I'm going to be the youngest artist in like the New York magazine. I was like, I had those crazy. Where'd that kid go? Oh, he's still right here doing the same shit, only a little bit different. And maybe it's not New York Magazine, maybe it's a Manhattan office, which we have, right? Like maybe it's a brand new office in Fairfield, which we're building, right? Like maybe it's not, but like you being passionate isn't a problem, and a lot of people who aren't passionate see that as a problem. So stay the course, make sure that you have your head on tight, but keep it swivel, and be happy.
I love that, man. If you can you talk to my audience, let them know where they can reach you next, what you're working on next, and anything additionally that you'd like to share?
Sure. Your friendly neighborhood Moose here, coming live at you, making moves, baby. You could reach me on the Instas, on the YouTubes, on the HBOs, on the Netflix, on the new projects we have coming up. So again, go follow me. Also go follow this guy. Like, subscribe, share this thing, because who doesn't want to feel awesome and learn new stuff? And lastly, yeah, no, that's it.
Love that. I love that, man. Akenmisire-Ukwei Musa.
Yeah, you tried.
I got close. Moose, I'm so grateful for you to be here. And I'm excited for what we have in store in the future.
Oh, Blue and Bougie, March 1st.
There you go, Blue and Bougie, March 1st.
Wine and chill events.
Hell yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah, this episode will drop well before then.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm super grateful for what we have in store in the future, and like it's gonna be a good year.
Yes.
You know, so this is the second episode of the year, so I'll say Happy New Year again, but I'm not gonna say it after that because I hate when people say Happy New Year halfway through January.
Yep.
But you know, I'd like to thank a couple people. I'd love to obviously thank the team here at Kai Visions, Claudio, Justin, who really do the best job. If you guys saw my last newsletter, I did incorporate an opportunity for you to start your podcast here. B, there was a exclusive offer in there. If you are not on the newsletter, feel free to go to www.adamvora.com and you can sign up for it. But if you are looking to get any content, launch a podcast, marketing materials, feel free to reach out directly to me or at Kai Visions on Instagram. You know, I want to thank our sponsor right now, which is Relive the Moments, John Lim and his team. They, you know, have supported me since the beginning of working here with Claudio, and I'm excited for what we have in store. You can reach out to them at www.relivethemoments.com. And, you know, I'm super grateful for everyone who has followed. This is going to be episode, I believe, 91. 91 episodes. We're approaching episode 100. A couple new things that I am launching here in 2026. You know, like I am launching the Purpose Collective, which is going to be a community that is attached to this podcast where people are able to connect with my guests and then also continue these conversations that we have here. And then my Core Shift coaching program, that's going to be something that, you know, I'm really hoping to build upon what we try to do here, where it hopefully leads you, if you're listening, closer to finding your purpose and grounded in what's really meaningful for you. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment, DM me, email me, visit the website, and you can contact me that way, www.adamvora.com. And I'm looking forward to next time, guys. Thank you.
Let's go.